All right, so let's read just a portion of Ezekiel 38. We won't even get to 39. You're going to have to do your homework yourself, all right? But I'm going to read you a few scriptures. Here we go. You can listen to this. Ezekiel 38, starting at verse 2. God speaks to a man named Ezekiel, a Hebrew, a Jewish man, and says, Son of man, set your face toward Gog, of the land of Magog. So first of all, let's clear up the confusion. Gog is the person, Magog is the land. Gog is the leader of a land called Magog. Who is this Gog? He's called the prince of Rosh, Meshach, and Tubal. And prophesy against him, and I will turn you around. That means he was going somewhere and he gets arrested in his tracks and he's redirected. I will turn you around, put hooks into your jaws, and lead you out with all your army. Skip a little bit, verse 5. Persia, Ethiopia, or Cush in Hebrew, and Libya are with them. Gomer and all its troops, the house of Togarmah, from the far north. I say the far north. Okay, because this is the thing that a lot of prophecy teachers will focus on. And all its troops, and many people are with you. Skip a little bit, verse 8. And in the latter years, that is a phrase connoting the end times. In the latter years, you will come into the land of basically Israel. All right? You will come into Israel. So there is an enemy who's hell-bent on destroying the Jews. And that's not a surprise because it happened in the Holocaust with Adolf Hitler. It's happened many times before in history, so patterns are prophetic. I'm going to just keep drumming this, Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9. Because once you get this, it answers many questions and many foolish theories of men. And you're going to be challenged today because some things you've heard and assume that's just the way it is, it's the way I've always heard it, it's not true. If Ecclesiastes 1 verse 9 is true. They both can't be true. Part of the confederacy is Gomer and all his mans, the house of Togarmah, of the north quarters. Interestingly, it doesn't even necessarily say Gog is from the north. It says Togarmah is from the north. But it's just been assumed that Gog is, got to be the one from the north. Could be true. And many people with thee. It's too many to even name. All right. So there's this cute saying that prophecy teachers like to say. If you draw a straight line from Jerusalem up north, it will cross downtown Moscow. The fact is, if you pull out a map and draw a bent line, yeah, you could get to Moscow. But it's certainly not a straight line at all to Moscow. Not only that, you do realize that all maps are distorted because maps are 2D and we live on a 3D sphere. The earth is curved. And so even a straight line pointing north on a flat map brings us to a different place. And then if we, so there's a straight line, all right? Guess where it brings us to? Crimea. That's a straight line north on a flat map, Crimea. That's exciting because Crimea is definitely in the news, right? Now, what we really want is a geodesic line. What is that? That's a straight line drawn on a curved object. So we draw a geodesic line to true north. It points us this way. From Jerusalem, it goes to Ankara, which is the capital of Turkey. That's fascinating because the Bible has said Turkey is going to be a main player. Turkey in World War III. And then if you keep going up, guess what? It kind of like, I think you can say, it goes like downtown Ankara, then it goes downtown Kiev, the capital of the Ukraine. Let's go back in history. Ibn Battuta from Morocco, considered one of the greatest travelers. He traveled 3 times the distance of Marco Polo. He visited Guangzhou in 1346, and he called the Great Wall of China the Al-Magog Wall. Why did the Chinese build the Al-Magog Wall? To keep the Mongol hordes out. So maybe the Mongols are the Magog people, are from the land of Magog. So 9 reasons. First of all, Al-Magog Wall is not anywhere near Russia. Jewish historian Josephus said Magog was the land of the Scythians. Byzantine historian Procopius of Caesarea in the 500 says Magog was the land of the Huns, and Gog was Attila the Hun. Sunni historian Ibn Kathir in the 1300 says Magog was the land of the Khazars. King Joseph of Caesarea said himself that he's a descendant of Magog's nephew Togarma. Jerusalem has been invaded at least 26 times in the past 2,000 years. Let me ask you, did Russia invade? Not once. So, if that which has been done is what will be done, if that which has been is what will be, then Russia's not in the picture. So who has invaded 26 times in the past 2,000 years? Every time from a Muslim country. Israel has been attacked at least 9 times in modern history, never once. Never once by Russia. And every single time by Muslim haters of the Jews. I'm not really sure what the contention really is about, because if you look at it point after point, it's pretty clear it's not Russia. Central Asia and the Caucasus are majority Muslim, and they are currently hostile to both Russia and Israel. So if anything, Russia is just as ticked off by these guys' violence as Israel would be. So give the Russians a chance, maybe pray for revival. And reason number 9, Psalm 120, verse 5 and 6. Woe is me that I dwell in Meshech, one of the players in World War III, that I dwell in the tents of Kedar. My soul has dwelt too long with one who hates peace. I am for peace, but when I speak, they are for war. You're going to find that in life, you want peace, but some people, they just want war. You give them up to God. Let God deal with them. But anyway, coming back to end-time prophecy, Meshech is, in Jewish history, they actually have a family tree. This is actually a real person. He's the son of Japheth, which is the son of Noah. And that's probably Turkey. Kedar is the son of Ishmael, so clearly that's either Egypt or Arabia. So Meshech cannot be Moscow, even though Americans say Meshech, Moscow, Meshech, Moscow. You cannot do that. You cannot do that to languages. It sound alike is not a good enough reason. They're 2 different languages. Meshech is not a place where the psalmist likely lived if Meshech is Moscow. The psalmist said he lived, woe is me if I live in Meshech. And I don't know any Jew who went all the way up to Moscow back in those days. Moscow also never threatened war against the Jews during biblical times. So he's saying Meshech is so violent, so hell-bent on war, even when we want a peace treaty with them, they still want to fight us. Well, that's not Russia. You go back in history 3,000 years ago when the Psalms were written, there's no evidence of a war with Russia. So I've given you 9 reasons. All right, so now your question might be, well, if Magog are all these Central Asian countries that we don't really pay attention to, in Australia and America, all these stand countries, they're just little tiny countries, they don't seem to be in the picture.